Welcome to Cinema Trailer News. This is a spoiler review for Black Widow. Now, if you haven't seen the movie yet, you can watch the review that hasn't have spoilers. That is in my channel, so if you have seen the movies, so you can watch this video. And if you haven't, so watch the movie and then come back here. So let's get into it. Now, let's talk about this movie. Overall, I think the movie is good. I really enjoy it for the most part. I found the movie very entertaining. But I have some problems with the movie. So let's talk about it. The opening scene, we get the introduction of this family, the Natasha Romanoff family, and it introduces these new characters. Now, I really enjoy these scenes because they were a family undercover and all of that, and we get to see that it wasn't real. It was all of that wasn't real. Also, for Yelena Belova, all of that, the family and everything, it was real for her. So I think that was one of the great things about this movie, especially when they escape and they arrive in Cuba and airport, and then the family goes like separate ways. They especially separates the sisters, Natasha and Yelena, and I really like that scene. So let's move out to the opening credit scenes. That was those opening credit scenes was strong and very well done, because they show these young girls taken to put in the Black Widow program into the Red Room. And you talk about to think, because they show up like clips that looks like news, and it feels sometimes like where many young girls just simply disappear and they never find them, and that sort of stuff. And it was very striking, and I think was very well done and surprising to have that in an opening credits for a NCU movie. So that was surprising, and I really like that. Well, the Marvel took that step. It was dark. I really enjoy where the NCU tries to go a little bit dark. So let's talk about the War of Black Widow. Now, this movie is a prequel. It takes place between Captain America Civil War and Avengers Infinity War. So they try to introduce these new characters from the Black Widow verse, the Black Widow War, whatever you want to call it, because we see most of Black Widow like in the Captain America's film, and of course Avengers and the second Iron Man. But she was more of a side character, and when we see a Captain America film, we know the world of Captain America. We have Falcon, the Winter Soldier, Carter. Those characters are part of the Captain America world. Now, this was the Black Widow world, so they need to introduce these new characters. So they introduced Jelena Belova, Red Guardian, Millennia, the Agent, Taskmaster, Drygov, all those characters. So I think that hurts the movie because there were too many characters to explore in this 2 hour and 14 minutes movie. Way too many characters. The problem is that basically all of the characters were new characters. So they need to flesh out those characters, and that's one of the problems of the film because some of the characters have little bit of screen time, some have like not really much to do in the movie. So that was my problem with the movie, one of the many problems, because it feels like they are taking screen time for of Natasha, and well, they could have done better. Now let's talk about General Ross. Now, General Ross is barely in this movie. He's more. he was in this movie because of to establish like this was more like I said, between Captain America Civil War and Avengers Infinity War, and why Natasha Romanoff is on the run from the governor because she's in violation of the Sokovia Accord. But General Ross, his role in this movie is very small, but it was a tease for the Red Hawk. We seen that he's sick, he's not well. So I think that was clearly a tease that the Red Hawk is coming. So that was interesting to see. So now let's talk about Budapest. Now, Budapest, I wanted to have seen the story that Hawkeye and Black Widow always talk about. Like, do you remember those days in Budapest and all of that? And I talked when when this movie was announced, but it wasn't given the plot details and all of that early in development. I think the most people, I think this was going to be like the story of Black Widow and Hawkeye in the Budapest, but it turns that it wasn't. Now the problem is that most of the reference to the past and all of that was just dialogue, and what I want to see what really happened. Show me flashbacks, show me all of that. Because the only thing they show about Budapest was the what Natasha wanted to get out of the red room and all of that, and her escape was chill and Hawkeye. So she needed to prove herself. So she killed Dreykov and his daughter. Or she thinking she have killed them. But we didn't get to see even Hawkeye in this movie. So that could have shown some flashback, and they could have been better. The movie could have used that. Now let's talk about the Red Room. So the Red Room was just I was expecting something more clever because the whole timelines the Red Room was just simply hiding in the clouds and just a satellite or not a plane, nothing like that. Uh, spotted them, haven't located them, and I don't know. There are more clever things to there are clever things to do that. But the widows, this is one of my problems because we didn't get to see much of them. We just I don't know. So much potential, and we only see them in basically in the first act of the movie, and second, like where the first mention where Jelena Belova is on the field, and then she get the antidote and all of that, and then we're in the safe house when they trying to eliminate Natasha and Yelena, and we didn't get to see a lot of them. And I think that I don't know if they're going to make a Black Widow show, but I think that could be interesting and has potential, especially with all the Black Widows around the world. And the other thing, a Disney Plus show, the benefit is that you have more time to flesh out those characters, and have more development. So let's see what happens in the. Now let's talk about the Taskmaster twist. Now personally, I don't mind the gender switch from male to female. I think it was clever. I know some people didn't really like that, but my problem with Taskmaster is he was in this movie in only a couple of scenes, and he was just a plot device. And the Taskmaster is a really cool character, but the most scene that I enjoy, the scene that I really enjoy of Taskmaster was the first encounter we fighting Natasha Romano in the bridge early on in the movie. That scene, the choreograph, the fighting, all of that, I think it was perfectly well done. But then you have him come back in Budapest. He was in the car chase, and we didn't get to see like a hand-to-hand combat with him in those scenes, and then he shows up later in the family, in the house family where they have been captured, and then in the third act, in the red room, and then he fights Red Guardian, but that scene was really short. And then we have seen that he's fighting like Black Widow when they are falling in the skies, and we seen that in the trailers, and I think this was part of a extension of a longer action sequence, but it wasn't like that because they quickly fall down. I mean, well, that's understandable, but once they are in the ground, that fight is just really short, and Natasha really uses the antidote, the gas, and to defeat her, and that's about it. It's just he hasn't the character development is not really well done for her, and they could have done better. Now I really like the reveal, the expression of Olga, her acting face. That that was excellent, and I really like to see more of her. But I want her to to I want Marvel to redeem this character because this character needs to be redeemed, and more character development, really well done character development, and really action sequences because they they really show how cool it is in the bridge scene between him and Natasha when he's really copying her moves and all of that. And that was just that. And this character has really potential. So maybe we see him join, I don't know, Thunderbolts, Dark Avengers in a Black Widow sequel, or maybe we'll get her own Disney Plus show. So let's see. Now let's talk about the third act of this movie. Now this movie, this movie starts really strong for me. The first and second really strong, great, and then about to enter the third act, it just started fall down for me. Better, and it's more because of the third act. The third act of this movie just feel rush. All of these final act just feel way too rushed, and the villains they didn't exactly did a good job with them, especially with Taskmaster, like I said before, and Dreykov. He was introduced in the opening scenes in this movie, and okay, he's like the really bad guy of this movie because he's like the architect of these of the Red Room, the Black Widow program. But the point we get to him, he's just feel like another generic villain. doesn't I did this and that, and I have Black Widow all over the world, and I'm going to do this and that, and they could have done better. And the problem is because he's just really in the opening scenes of the movie, and then in a couple of seconds when he sent Taskmaster to retrieve the the antidote for Natasha, and and that's about it. And then in the final act of the movie, and especially the Black Widows, we get to see like then he escaped, he's escaping, and then the Black Widows are all coming to Natasha after Natasha, and that scene was not really well done because they started to surround her and Psycho, and one Black Widow host Natasha, and the other started to hit her, and it was it could have been more epic, a lot of more action, and it was just like Natasha just getting punched left and right, and then of course Yelena arrives with the antidote gas, and then they they are free of the Black Widows. But then I think they could have help Natasha to eliminate to get Dreykov, and then they did. Then Natasha said, "Now you you are free to choose," something like that. And well, they go out to escape. And the problem is that this film doesn't really have like consequences. Like none of the big characters die. None, none of the Black Widows. And that was one of the many problems of this final act. This was feels to rush, the not really consequences, and the Black Widow were the Black Widows wasn't, they didn't give them much to do, and even Taskmaster. So I think the final act of this movie didn't work exactly for me. And then we go to this like weird ending because then the family, they are all in the ground, and General Ross is coming for Natasha, and then she stays because she wants to buy more time so the other Black Widows and her family can escape. And then we cut to her with the blonde hair and the vest that she wore in Avengers Infinity Wars, and that was cool to see. But that was like, so what really happened to her? Because she's still a fugitive. She just she just went to meet this OT Fabenlis character, the agent, that and then she has the Avengers, yeah, and clearly she's going to go to find Captain America, and that's about it. Now let's talk about this end credit scene. They are really like, and it was really cool because we in this end credit scene we seen Yelena Belova visiting her sister's grave, the the Natasha grave, and she clearly goes to visit her from time to time, and we seen Valentina Contessa we with Yelena Belova over there, and they started talking, and we get information that they have been working together. It's not the first time they they are meeting face to face or they are working together. They have been working together in the past, so that was interesting. And then we get the she offers Yelena Belova like revenge for the man responsible for her sister's death, and when she showed the man is Clint Barton, Hawkeye. So that was interesting because we all know in Avengers Endgame that Clint Hawkeye wanted to give her life, to give his life for the Soul Stone, and he was basically fighting Natasha for who will do it because she wanted to do it, but also he, and at the end she did it. So it was not really clean faults because he really wanted to do it, and Natasha makes make her choice. Nothing Clint could have done. Now that would be interesting because I don't know how they're going to approach that. If when Yelena find Hawkeye, he's going to understand. And yes, like I feel guilty because I could have stopped her from doing that, for sacrificing herself. So let's see what happened there. But this is really interesting from the MCU perspective because they are this is an end credit scene in a movie that is setting up a Disney Plus show, a series that is the Hawkeye series, because when we have known that Florence Pugh, who plays Yelena Belova, was going to be, she's going to be in the series, but we now have like this confirmation that she's in the series because she's hunting down Clint Barton, Hawkeye. So that's fascinating. So maybe we can see now in another Disney Plus show setting up a MCU movie. So these Disney Plus shows, if you haven't watched any of them recently, you may want to consider because this is all connected, and that's the brilliance of the MCU, the connected tissues and all of that. I really enjoy that from the MCU. And we also know that from this end credit scene, Val, she's clearly building a team now because we were supposed to see her here first, but because of the delays and all of that, we we get her first introduction of Val in Falcon and the Winter Soldier when she recruits Walker, who become U.S. agent, and now she has like she has Yelena below her. So she's clearly building a team. Now that team could be in the Thunderbolts or Dark Avengers. We will have to see which team it is. But I think it is the Thunderbolts. And I can see in this team Yelena Belova. I can see Walker, who is U.S. agent. He's already recruited by Val. Seymour, he's in the Wrath. Blonsky, the Abomination. We know he's coming back. He was recently announced that he's going to appear in the She-Hulk series on Disney Plus. But we have seen him recently in the Shang-Chi trailer. So he's really coming big in the MCU. He's returning big in the MCU. And then we have Ghost, who was the villain Ant-Man the Wasp movie. And I can see in this thing also Taskmaster or Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. And I could also see Agatha Harkness, who she was first introduced in WandaVision. And we also have like the Red Hawk, and it's clearly the Red Hawk is coming because of the General Ross team, and he's Red Hawk. And now the question is that if Val is building this team for her, or is she working with someone else? I think she could be working with General Ross to build this team. But also I can see General Ross working for her. And maybe we can see she's working with someone else. Maybe someone who hasn't yet been introduced in the MCU. So I'm really curious about what direction they're going with that. So let's talk about Scarlett Johansson. So she's fantastic in this movie, and I really like how she evolved this character through the years, to multiple films, and she's the lead in this movie, but it just feels like this is more like the family movie, and she's clearly the lead, but for the problem is we know this character died in Avengers Endgame, and when you do this movie that is a prequel, well, this movie I was expecting like a really big send off for her character, and I didn't really get that. I think it was a good send off, but it could have been better. And Scarlett Johansson, the character Black Widow, deserve better than this. And I hope somehow she comes back in the MCU. We have the multiverse and all that, so everything is possible. So let's see let's see how this turns out. But I think she's always fantastic on the screen, not only in her acting but her physical performance in her action sequences. I really enjoyed that. Now let's talk about Florence Pugh. Now Florence Pugh, she's a scene stealer in this movie. She was phenomenal. And I would have preferred better just a movie between her and Scarlett Johansson. Like, I would I would have liked to see more of these two characters, these sisters. But Florence Pugh, she's tough, she's funny, and she was excellent in this movie. And I like the joke that she makes to Natasha about the the superhero landing. I mean, I didn't expect to to Yelena to be this funny. She was just phenomenal in this movie. I'm really excited to see more of her in the MCU, and she's now taking like the Black Widow, but she's more like I see her more like a anti-hero. So let's see what what direction Kevin Feige takes her. Now let's move on to Taskmaster. Now I remember a couple of years back, I believe it was a Comic Con that introduced the cast: Scarlett Johansson, Florence Pugh, Rachel Rice, David Harbour, and O.T. Van Benning. And when we see that, we see, okay, so Marvel put this O.T. Van Benning as basically a mystery. So people think that he's going to be Taskmaster. And he wasn't. Now, it was leaked, I believe, a couple weeks ago, something like that. But for the most part, the people was surprised about that because he has seen his name in all of the poster, and he has like his really own character poster. So the my birthday, I believe they did that well, but it was just with the big reveal came for Taskmaster, and it turns out that he was Dracov's daughter, and that was really interesting to see people's reaction because he was just basically in the movie as a mystery, and he has like 3 scenes in the whole movie. So, but I think he make a good impression for the little more screen time that he have. So as I'm expecting to see more of him in the MCU because he operates more like in the gray area like that. He's not really like a good guy or a bad guy, and he's called the agent. So I would like to see more of him in the future. Now, in terms of Taskmaster, I think that, like I said, maybe joining the Thunderbolts or Dark Avengers, or in a Black Widow sequel, or in maybe a Disney Plus show. But they need to redeem this character. They need to give him very well done character development and really show off how the cool character her is. Her. Because we didn't get to see much of her in this movie. So I expect a redeem for this character. Now let's move on to Rachel Weisz, who plays Melina. Now she has a decent amount of screen time. She's basically in this movie more in the final act, in the third act of this movie. But I think that there's so much to explore with her character, given that she didn't have much to do. So we know there are still Black Widows all over the world, and she helps rescue and liberate the other Black Widows. So maybe she helps to find and free the other Black Widows around the world, because it's more like a part of redemption for her character, because of the wrong things she did in the past. She basically helped build the Red Room, the Black Widow program. So she's one of the first Black Widows, and that was all because she didn't give him much to do, especially action sequences. So I expect to see more of that with her character in the future. Now let's talk about David Harbour as Red Guardian. Hilarious. I really like this character. He's more comedy, but I think David Harbour really did a good job with the comedy and with this character, really cool, and especially life. I like really though it was. I think he asked Natasha that if you have told Captain America about me, and he called Captain America his nemesis, and that was just really fun to watch on screen, really, because he's basically the Russian version of Captain America, and I like the joke he makes in the present scene. Like I fight Captain America in 1984 or something like that. When one of the other prisoners say, but Captain America was frozen in the ice, for he was not yet awake from the ice, and regarding he said like you're calling me a liar. And I think, and the whole person saying that it was just fun to watch, and I really enjoy seeing David Harbour playing this character. So I don't think maybe to see more of him in other films, maybe get his own Disney Plus show. That would be cool. So now overall, I like this movie, but it's not great. It's not one of the top NCU movies. I think this movie took so long to come out. I mean, in the way that this movie could have been better if I've come out about phase 3 of the NCU, something like that, before Avengers Endgames. I think the movie will be more impactful, given it will have the movie just didn't have that like really big impact on me. like I say, it's good, very entertaining, but it could have done better because it's, this movie was basically more of the family and setting up Yelena Belova as the new Black Widow. Of course, Scarlett Johansson still the lead of this movie, but like I said, like we were expecting more, like a really big send off for her character, and we didn't get to see that because this could have been better. It have come before Avengers Endgame and all of that, but that's about it. So if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. I'm curious to see what you think of this movie and the future of the MCU and this new Black Widow war that we get to introduce in this movie. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I see you guys later. Thank you for watching.